football team in the SEC Conference. We're going to build the best football program in the SEC Conference.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
The kick, it's been blocked again! How about it? It's been blocked again! It's going to heat one deep down the field. It's going to be to the goal line. It's going to be gone! It's a touchdown! And the Gators have won the game! Tyreek Cleveland! How about it? I can't believe what I just saw! Dropping back to throw. Pops and fires the ball over the middle. It's Dory! It's Dory! Got a touchdown! Dory got a touchdown! Oh, man! Dory's got a touchdown! Ahmad Black, in his final game as a Gator, takes it all the way home and sends Urban out the winner.
You have now arrived at Stadium in Gale.
Boys and girls, ladies and gents, welcome to another episode of Stadium in Gale. It's your favorite Uncle Silk.
It's Dan.
And Delatorre.
That Wi-Fi lagging on vacation, man.
It's tough up here in the mountains, bro.
Where are you exactly?
Banner Elk, North Carolina, about 40 minutes
can't
outside
hide
of
money.
Boone.
Yeah. That's where the millionaires vacation is what I hear.
That's well, I'm out of touch then. With the common man or with the people here, either one.
He's at the Thousandaire
Nick.
Suites because he's got the Thousandaire Wi-Fi.
He's got my old Wi-Fi. He made his way up to North Carolina. Nick, I want to set a picture here real quick. You were on a roller coaster earlier, or was that a metaphorical roller coaster?
No, literal.
A
Literal roller coaster.
What kind of theme
Nice.
park is up there?
I think we're high enough up that they have some like ski resorts up here. So it was just like it was a little small mountain coaster. Yeah.
Okay. That's fun.
Nothing
How
too
long
crazy.
did you be up there?
Not like Islands of Adventure or anything. Just a small little mountain coaster. I drive back
Was it
Friday. No, but like something like a 4-year-old could go on. We have some kids here, so we're trying to find some like activities to do with kids.
Nice.
Oh, very good. Very good. Well, thanks so much for interrupting your vacation to do this big week in Gator Nation. But before we get to that, Silk, how was your weekend, my friend? You had a big weekend up there in Orlando?
Yeah, man, had a great time. We kicked it, had the roll-up crew. We interviewed the Sanford Three of Andre DeBose, Ray Armstrong, and Dyron Dye. Great time, man. Andre DeBose is hilarious, bro. Like, next level funny. Some great stories of his UF days and also his short stint in the NFL. That'll be dropping in about a week and a half or so, man. We're doing some great intimate setting interviews at the Cush-Offs these days. So if you haven't checked out the Roll Up YouTube, check that out. But yeah, we just kicked it, man. Did some work. Just trying to get as much content as I could get off before the fall hit, man. Might pack it up here a little bit. And, might got one more.
Okay.
And that's it.
All right.
That's it. That's all I did. What about you, Dan? What'd you get into?
A little golf, a little boating, a very Florida weekend. We had great weather here in Tampa. It didn't rain finally for a couple of days. So just get myself ready. Have a very busy September and October. So just trying to vibe out and enjoy as much as I can. So always, whenever there's an opportunity to get on a boat, I do. So I got to do that yesterday with an old friend of mine. And then that's kind of it. I'm taking my work team to the Hard Rock Casino tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited about that. Rented a couple cabanas at the pool. I do a little gambling. So just one day back in the office, and then we're calling an early release day.
Y'all
so
hiring?
Film stadium. Yeah, we are. We are hiring. Always hiring. So applications are open unless you're a Miami fan. In which case I just don't have time for it. So let's get started. As always, a show is sponsored.
Wait, was that Life Wallet you were talking about?
No. This is a real legitimate business. But as always, speaking of legitimate businesses, as always, Stadium and Gale is sponsored by Alan Horn with Alan Horn Insurance. Visit him at www.alanhorne.insurance.com or call him at 706-692-2888. Auto, home, renters, life, business insurance, retirement planning, boat insurance, RV insurance, whatever your needs may be. Give Alan and his team a call if you are in Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, or Alabama. Again, 706-692-2888 or AlanHornInsurance.com. Silk, I know he's been sponsoring some of your stuff over with the roll-up well. So thanks so much, Alan, for your support. Gentlemen.
Alan, man. Alan's solid, man. It's my guy.
Alan is a dude. Alan is a good dude.
Dude. That's a perfect way to describe him, a dude. That's a compliment, bro.
Yeah. He's a good ass dude, you know? Well, let's get started. Since the Gators, since we last recorded this show, the Gators have added 4 commitments in what is otherwise probably one of the biggest Friday Night Lights weekends post Urban Meyer. Gentlemen, before we break down each commit, obviously excitement is exuding in Gator Nation right now. Talk to me a little bit about your thoughts. So,
hey man, this was our last shot at having a good off season, and before this what Friday Night Lights was designed for when Meyer designed it. Get that extra little jump in recruiting right before the season kickoff. Fireworks, man, enjoyed it. I like the staff's participation on the timeline and engagement. They've been working hard. We see the effort as far as the graphics, the videos, the work, the contact. We read it in the articles. They're staying in contact. They're doing their job. We got to see some of the fireworks and the fruits of that labor this weekend, man. So we'll get into the commits and everything, but I thought it was fun to watch everybody involved, even with Trayon Webb and the players that are already committed. Just things just coming around a little bit. We got to get the trenches together. We got to get that offensive line in the linebacker room. We got to figure that out, but it's coming together a little bit.
Nick,
it would love to know how much it was orchestrated, because you got Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Right. It just was it seemed like, hey, we got these ducks in a row. Fireworks start early, continue through the event. But certainly that's the kind of momentum you want heading into what is now a dead period, I believe, and then into the season. Now, listen, don't drop the bag and have a terrible season and
or
start making some people.
If you have a terrible season.
Or the bag will be heavier if you have a terrible season. Adding commas and zeros if you have a terrible season. But shout out to, guys, we go back a month ago and the streets were acting wild. The social media streets were crazy. People were getting fired. And right now, Florida's sitting in a good spot and I think with a legitimate chance at a top 10 class.
Yeah, I think that's almost kind of a necessary and foreseen thing that will happen with the Gators finishing the top 10. I think if you look back about a month ago, the Gators are ranked 41st on one of the services. Now they're ranked 12th, 13th on 247 or on 3, whatever one you look at. But beyond just that, the class has 16 commits right now. 12 of them are 4 stars. 4 of them are 3 stars, which puts Florida just behind Notre Dame, Clemson, and Ohio State as having the most blue chips prospects in the country. Blue chip prospect, obviously being a 4 or 5 star player, obviously an insanely talented class of quality. I still think that they probably need one of the 2 or 3 big names that are left on their board to really be that solid game changer, your Cormani McLean type of players. But for all intents and purposes, just one of the most star-studded classes the Gators have had as a whole ratio, from what I can tell.
We still got a lot of room for activities.
Well, the room's limitless. You don't have limits. There's no 25 limit. So go ahead and get off. Pause.
Right. I like the quality though. I think
Right.
it's a certain quality they have right now. It's been a slow process,
Mm-hmm.
but I do like the quality in their approach so far. We got some misses, and I think this staff and they're built to keep recruiting, even if like the kid committed elsewhere. These coaches are going to get busy. This where I think that the season. Our flips are going to come from the off the field staff. These coaches and wins, of course, the production on the field, but off the field staff is going to be busy this fall, man. These coaches are not going to be in the ear of these recruits like they were all summer, and not going to have the same time. And that's what these millions of staffers we have off the field are going to play their part with staying in contact, staying up to date, just treating these kids and pampering them all the way to signing day. So we still on the hunt. I won't get into our commits, but we still on the hunt.
Yeah, no, I think right before we do that, I think that you're finally starting to see some of the big names that are on this staff starting to make an impact on the recruiting side. Obviously, a lot of folks were excited when Bree Wade came over, and then when Katie Turner came over, obviously a lot of excitement there. Still going to take some time to build their processes and build their systems into place. Obviously, you've heard of Coach Pira. We've heard of some of the other support staffers, but you started to hear Coach Hippolyte and a few of the other off the field support staffers that maybe were completely unknown or just starting to get their work started when the last recruiting group was getting signed on, but starting to really build and benefit from the relationships of being able to have your metaphorical fingers, plugged into enough metaphorical holes to be able to make sure that things aren't getting missed. Right. So I'm excited to see what the support staff's going to do. But again, one of the biggest recruiting weekends in a long time for the Gators. So let's start with the recruit that committed on Thursday. That was 4-star cornerback Jakeem Jackson from Osceola High School there in Kissimmee, 6'1.5". Cornerback, 180 pounds, 4-star by all services, and ranked on the On3 consensus as the number 21 player in the country, but our number 21 DB in the country. But Silk, give me your thoughts on Jakeem Jackson.
Man, huge wingspan, rangy. How you want defensive backs these days? Tall. I think he's still growing a little bit. I think he's gonna rise in the rankings even more. But just a good grade by Corey Raymond. We gotta do what we gotta do on the I-4. We got some misses on the I-4, but a great get. I think he could play several spots in the secondary, if not all three. But he damn sure could play star or either corner. I think overall good get, man.
Nick, any thoughts?
Very good. Nick.
Sorry, I was very good. Like Silk said, long rangey, built how you want to see DBs, how DBs. Sorry, I'm talking to BT, and trying to talk about DBs. How you want DBs, and I think right now you're seeing kind of what the Corey Raymond effect, like what having Corey Raymond on your team can do for you, and not just with Jakeem, but as we'll get more commits here. It was a really good start to the weekend for Florida, and I think really started, got the ball rolling.
Yeah, no, definitely a very solid player. One of the three guys that Florida was recruiting from Osceola High School. Obviously a very talented player. On3 has him ranked as their 13th best cornerback in the country. I know a lot of people, when they think of cornerbacks, they think of the big names that are out there, your Cormani McLeans and your Harrises, but he's no slouch. Definitely a great cornerback. Offers from Tennessee, Auburn, Penn State, Miami, Georgia, Alabama, kind of the whole kit and caboodle of teams around the country offered him. So, Gators have been training for him for a while, but still, you still have to close and you still have to get those guys. And, again, a great get for the University of Florida. Speaking of names that you should get, Aiden Mizell, is the next individual that committed, 6 foot 280 pounds out of Boone High School there in Orlando. Both of his parents were in track at the University of Florida. Speedster. On3 has him ranked as their 44th best player in the country, 5th best wide receiver. The On3 consensus puts him at a 93, nationally 15th best wide receiver. Speedster guy that's going to get open. Kerry Colbert putting that work in the offseason, or the timeline fired him last offseason, but he's putting in some work, building a great class. So get your thoughts on Aiden Mizell.
Colbert doing what he got to do, man. Doing what he got to do. Yeah, Aiden Mizell is a great one, man. We're answering exactly what we need, right? Our needs, not just top ranked wide receiver, but speedy wide receivers. Eugene Wilson was another one. Creed Whitmore is also very athletic and twitchy type wide receiver. So we're getting the type of receiver that exactly what we're missing from our wide receiver room. So another great get. I think he can play out of the slot or outside. Very fast, track kid. You can see him scratch the field or catch the ball in short parameters and take it the distance. Either way, man, he could get to the end zone. So really good get by the staff, man. Along that I-4, baby, let's just keep camping out, man. Master our own our surroundings. You know what I'm saying? Lock this Florida thing down. We'll figure out the rest later.
Yeah, I think really a recruitment and a player that the past staff had dropped the ball on completely. There was a point where a top 100 wide receiver who had parents that were alumni wasn't even getting discussed or talked about as a potential for Florida. So credit to Kerry Colbert, Billy Napier, and the staff for getting back in it with Aiden Mizell. We have him as the number 93 prospect, 15th best wide receiver. These are the kind of, recruiting battles you need to win if you want to get back in it and start being relevant nationally. So huge for Florida.
Yeah, I mean, how many kids has Florida lost over the last couple of years where their parents did go to UF, right? And where they should have been, otherwise, shoo-ins for the class because they didn't recruit them well, or they lost contact. They got lazy about it, right? Mizell is obviously a kid that you not only want at the University of Florida because of how talented he is. He's the type of kid that you need in that class because you feel like he's going to have that connection. He's going to probably be a guy that helps recruit and bring other folks in. He's familiar with the university. He's familiar with the orange and blue. So, definitely a guy that you want and want to make sure that you grab that commitment early and, being able to get it before the season starts. Allows, that continued momentum of, hey, these are the types of kids that I want to play with, right? You don't want to be the only superstar in your class. So, you have another couple guys in there. All of a sudden, what did Mizell see in Florida? That maybe somebody that didn't have interest, might now see in Florida. So, getting him is great for the class, especially, having to dig out of a little bit of a hole. And I think that this staff is showing that they are, very good recruiters. And I think that Kerry Colbert's answered a lot of questions that people had about him, and what he would bring from a recruiting perspective as well. All right. Next one that commit on Saturday. The Gators grabbed a commitment from safety Jordan Castell, 6 foot 290 pounds from West Orange High School in Winter Garden, Florida. Ranked a 4-star by most of the services. On3 has him ranked as the 10th best safety in the country, 130th overall. Some of the other services, I think one of them has him as a 3-star, but for the most part, a highly thought of safety. New guy that's going to be able to come in, has otherwise been considered a silent commit for a few months now, but certainly great to see his name on the commit list. Had offers from Auburn, Alabama, Tennessee, Penn State, Ohio State, a number of other schools that you can that you probably assume. So again, another nice 4-star for this class. Silk, any thoughts on him?
I like him at safety, but also they like that he lines up at corner in high school and looks really good at it. So a lot of safeties can't go out on the island and play corner like that. So I do like his skill set. Very good get, man. Along the I-4, they just doing what they got to do, man. I think it's a very good commitment. Some other guys on the I-4 that I would like to take a jab at. But right now in the safety room, it's pretty solid. I don't want to take all the takes, so I want to let Nick start going first.
All right, I'll let Nick go for the last one.
I like. I think he's more of like a strong safety, really big wingspan. I think he's 6'2" with like a 6'5" wingspan.
Right.
Long frame. I think he's the kind of guy you walk down, play in the box. But like Dan said, someone who was someone who was committed, probably silently or leaned silently for a while. We're talking sports here, boys. We're talking sports.
Oh man, I clicked off the page and I heard you talking about playing in the box. I just didn't know what you were talking about. Anyway. Unbelievable.
Good get for Florida. As Silk said before, I-4 corridor.
Yeah, no, obviously great player. Guy that we've talked about a lot on this show. Florida needs some safety, depth back there. They're going to be graduating a few, not just, after this season, but the season after that, potentially some guys leaving early for the NFL as well. So always want to make sure that you have a solid group back there. Getting coached up by Patrick Toney. A lot of good things have been said by recruits about Patrick Toney, and then certainly, with Corey Raymond being back there as well. I'm certainly a great 1-2 punch for the University of Florida. And finally, the Gators shoved the Miami Hurricanes in the locker.
We shoved them in the locker for Jackson too, and Aiden Mizell. We should like people
and
just
Castell,
want to go and Castell. We shoved them in the locker. Those takes, all those were takes for Miami. I don't let nobody confuse you on that. But go ahead, Dan.
The Gators, for the fourth time in 4 days, shoved Miami in the locker, grabbed former Miami commit Andy Jean, wide receiver out of Northwestern High School in Miami, Florida, 6'1", 180 pounds, offers from Miami, Texas A&M, Alabama, Georgia, all the schools that you want to compete up against and win. On3 has him ranked as the 25th best wide receiver in the country. Their On3 consensus has him ranked at 354. On3 is very high on him. ESPN 247 and Rivals a little bit lower on him. But for all intents and purposes, looking at film and everything else, I think that this is a guy that probably ends up being one of your top 20, 30 wide receivers in the country. Pretty rangy, shifty, especially for his size at 6'1", speedy. Nick, what are your thoughts on the grab of Andy Jean?
Yeah,
I think Jean and not Jean, right? Nah, well, clear.
Well, he is Haitian.
Yep,
he's Haitian, but it's Jean.
Okay.
I think he's probably faster than his verified speed. Like, I don't know if you put him on like the lasers, you probably get him at like 4 or 5, but you turn on the film and he's running past people. So you put some pads on him and he's going to run faster. Really shifty, a guy that I think can get behind the defense. We're On3 was actually higher, I think, on all 4 of Florida's commits this past week than other recruiting services. But Jean is another guy. I think you could play him in the slot. It'll be interesting to see. He's about 6'1", 180 right now. Could be a slot guy, but you get a little bit bigger. And just watching him play, I think he could be an X or a Z as well. Last year, I think he had 40 catches with 750 yards, somewhere around there. And playing against his biggest test, had a huge game against IMG Academy. So, you're playing down there.
Bring up your team.
Never. Playing down there, Miami Northwestern, you're playing against some of the best competition in some hard-nosed games. So huge gift for Florida. Needed to address the wide receiver room, and looking at the guys they have right now in that room in this signing class, there was some slander about Kiri Colbert, last signing day, and I think he has gone and totally redeemed himself.
There you go. Definitely a good class when you look at wide receiver. Obviously, we've talked about Mizell, We talked about Gene. Silk earlier brought up Eugene Wilson from Gaither High School, and we'll talk about the other Gaither High School prospect here in a moment. And then, right now in that class also is Creed Whittemore, who Nick mentioned, and then Tyree Patterson. Now, there is some smoke out there. If you look at some crystal balls, that he may flip over to UCF. Has not happened yet, but as a member of that class, you look at them and they're all kind of different, right? You have some speed, you have some size, but ultimately a lot of very athletic individuals. The old, I guess, stature of person, or the type of person that Billy Gonzalez was recruiting at the position was tall, big, kind of tree trunk type wide receivers. And this group seems a little bit more to fill out each particular role. So shout out to Kerry Colbert, shout out to that staff or that group of folks recruiting because they're certainly starting to change the makeup of that room. And I think for the better.
Yeah, man, locking down that 305, man. Hyperbole a little bit there, but yeah, I think it's good to get just harping down on what we keep saying every show. All these kids are Florida kids. We're not on the West Coast with it. We're not in the Northeast with it. We're getting talented kids that Texas A&M is after. Texas A&M wanted Andy Jean, Bama after them, LSU, Miami. Like, we're not winning battles versus teams that aren't after these kids. So just great gets, man. And also it's in state. So if we keep mobbing down there, getting kids from programs like Miami Northwestern, those are haymakers, man. That ain't just a commit. That's a commit. That hit a little different.
Yeah, no, obviously bring a certain level of competition as well that they're used to playing with and experienced with. And I think I saw this, that every single one of the Gators commitments that they have right now is within 350 miles of campus. I think 14 of them are from the state of Florida, 2 are from Georgia, but again, all from a commutable distance. And that's the area that, every single coach talks about locking down. And this seems like the first time in a very long time that's where their energy and effort is. And I'll applaud this coaching staff. Obviously, certainly Corey Raymond and a number of other coaches have had experience recruiting Florida and being around Florida, but to be able to come in and grab 14 commits in the state in 8 months of being on the job with new relationships and competing against a lot of schools with a lot of very embedded relationships in the state of Florida, I think shows how good the staff could potentially be. Now, certainly it's not over yet to take it across the finish line. There's going to be a lot of competition for a lot of your big prospects that are still out there and are on your committed list right now. But I think to be able to come in, to grab those kids, build those relationships, only is going to continue to get, Florida more solidified and hopefully, for their sake, continue to get these big dogs that they need in the recruiting to continue to build their recruiting class. Because ultimately, we mentioned, Nick, you said it, Florida's on pace right now to probably finish in the top 10. Florida, I think it needs to be at a minimum top 10 class every year, if not starting to get into that, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4+ range here soon. Other commit, certainly was a guy that I think a lot of people were wondering and curious about. Also from Gaither High School, Dijon Johnson, former commit to commit to Ohio State, was on campus this weekend. 6 foot 190 pounds. Has offers from Florida, Miami, Ohio State, Ole Miss, a number of other schools. Was on campus, maybe even on commit watch. But does end up leaving Gainesville after spending 2 days in Gainesville, including a potential rumor that was out there that he was going to leave in the middle of the night on Friday and head down to Miami. That got stopped, but he was on campus for 2 days. Any thoughts on what you guys have been hearing from that visit?
Nick, what you hearing, bro, from the mountains?
The mountains are speaking to me. Great visit, and I don't know how real the plan was to leave and head down to Miami. Regardless of whatever the validity of that was at the time, it didn't come to fruition. I think a lot of what is going to happen with some guys that are uncommitted, whether it's Cormani or any of these top guys who are going to be uncommitted, is going to be a lot of what does the product look like on the field. It's not just wins and losses, but what do you look like? What's the direction look like can you sell that if you're Florida, if you're Billy Napier or whatever position coach it is? So I think a lot of these guys that aren't, committing now and shutting it down before their season and before the college football season are going to be looking to see, okay, well, I've heard what you've said to me all summer. Does that show up on the field? Or have you been selling me fool's gold?
Mm-hmm.
What's up with Dijon? Is he deciding soon? What are you hearing? Dijon Johnson. Which must on the beat. So let's break down this real quick. So I do want to talk about. So Dijon was heading to the University of Florida for his a visit for the Friday Night Lights and the cookout and shenanigans over the weekend. My man Corey Bender and the good folks at On 3, they reporting it, doing their thing, keeping the people, on point of what's going on. And then all of a sudden there's some smoke about him maybe leaving Florida early to go to Miami for a visit, which all got put out. So there is some games being played between Miami and UF this recruiting cycle. What was happening on that front? Because he didn't end up making Miami after a lot of my mustard tweets that went out.
So he actually had tweet delete real quick about a week ago, about a week before Friday Night Lights, that he was decommitting from Ohio State. Corey had already put in a flip prediction to him about a month prior to that. There have been some stuff behind the scenes where we had felt pretty good that a flip was coming. It's interesting because you've got people in our industry want to break news. I'm not in the business of, and I don't think Corey is, or we are in the business of putting ourselves ahead of them. We're not the ones who have put in the time and the practice and the dedication to have that moment. We'll report on the news. We're not trying to make the news. And maybe some people are not worried about a 17-year-old kid having the best moment of his life. They want to be the first person to report it. So I feel strongly that Florida's in a good spot with him. And I think that's, probably where I'll leave it. I think Florida sits in a good spot with him. And yeah.
Yeah, I know that there was a tweet and an article put out by Rivals yesterday announcing his commitment. Obviously, there's a lot of smoke out there. I'm not in the business.
Amateur hour, man. That's what's going on.
Yeah.
Man. A lot of amateur Bush League reporting, man.
I'll say I think it's odd. And I know that, you certainly have to get your ducks in a row and you want to be able to have the article to put out, to tweet. But I think the idea of breaking the announcement of somebody else's decision to be a bit odd. I've always found it odd when, players find out that they're traded on ESPN, but ultimately it's contractual. They don't really have, much to say in the process. It's just a nature, unfortunately, of professional sports. But I've always kind of found it odd when folks are trying to jump the gun on an individual trying to make a personal announcement. And I feel bad for the kid, because now there's a lot of pressure and now there's also a lot of disappointment in things that are going to get thrown his way if he doesn't commit to the school that a lot of people think he's going to commit to, right? If he doesn't end up coming to Florida, now you have an entire fan base that is mad because they all of a sudden, felt like something happened that would have otherwise been ours, right? Was it amateur hour reporting? Maybe a little bit. Was it going to be a kid that felt cold feet? Whatever it might be, I do feel bad for the individual that has to go through the process. I like the way that Corey and I like the way that On3's handled it. But ultimately, I think the rush to announce a kid's decision and break the news for the kid is an unfortunate part of the business that I don't understand ethically why it's, I guess, continue to allow to progress and some these large organizations start to put their foot down to make sure that it gets limited or stopped.
And you can make a mistake. I mean, we've got stories that are written and they're written.
Oh yeah, of course. 2
months in advance. And you can accidentally make something. I mean, we had reaction videos for 2 of the 4 commitments before I left on vacation. And I was nervous because they're loaded onto our YouTube page. And I'm thinking, shoot, don't hit public. Make sure this is private. Not trying to have this go out before it goes official. And you can make mistakes. That happens.
It's different than a tweet.
Try not to. Yeah, sure is.
But I think the culture of this just needs to be cut your notification of the kid on all their apps, and when they announce it, you announce it. There's no breaking of like that time unless the kid comes directly to you and say break my commitment. I don't like it's rumors and it's nonsense to be reporting and ruining the moment. I don't think there's no way around it outside of like an accident on YouTube, like you said, but that's not the case right here. Everybody's just jumping the gun. It's not the first case with us either. Like I don't know what's going on around us, man. It's like self-sabotage a little bit.
Yeah, we had the AJ Harris thing kind of pop up. We had this one. I think that a new editorial standard. Nick, I've got an idea for a new editorial standard. Don't publish an article. Not you guys. You guys do a fine job, right? But just for the industry as a whole, don't publish the article unless you have a quote from the kid or you can link back to a tweet or something that kid put out that says I'm committed. Right. That should be your new editorial standard that, hey, we're not just going to put an article out, that just breaks down who he is and what his background is and what school he went to and how many interceptions he had, but have something that links back to that because it's unfortunate. It seems to be happening a lot. Obviously, it's happened a couple of times to Florida now, but ultimately it seems like it's happening a lot. And I start to feel bad for these kids because this is their, for most of them, their one opportunity to make that announcement. So enough harping on that, Nick. There's a great job.
There's no reward for being first. That's the thing about it. Like nobody's getting trophies at the end in December. They're like, yo, you can't. You reported first the most times this year, man. You're MVP of Twitter report.
you don't know what kind of secret awards we have, huh?
I can see it.
No, I do tell people
if the awards are secret, they're not even worth having.
Nobody. It's strictly like a journalist thing. Like. You other journalists will recognize if I break a story, like my peers, people I work with, even at opposing companies, will be like, "Hey man, great job getting that scoop," but like nobody else knows. And I tell people that all the time. It's like, yeah, cool, but like nobody cares. Nobody really cares.
I was just gonna
put the news out first. It's just the news. It's like an industry thing where we know who broke it, but it's like it doesn't really matter as long as your news is out in a timely fashion. Reported well and correctly, it doesn't matter who's first and who's last. It's a 48-hour cycle.
It's fleeting, man.
You break something, there's something else being broken in a day and a half.
Yeah. Well, gentlemen, we can certainly continue on this discussion, but we do have our guest waiting. Silk, why don't you give us a quick Gramco ad read?
For sure.
And we'll get the Florida Gators baseball catcher, BT Riopelle, on the show.
Be sure to visit thegramco.com. Use coupon code 20. What is it? 25 SG25. Which one?
SG25.
SG25. Be sure to use coupon code SG25 at checkout for 25% off of Delta 8 THC products. Gummies come in 3 flavors: watermelon, fruit punch, and blue raspberry. They also have sativa doll products, which is CBD derived. They also have wake and bake coffee and pre-rolls. Again, use coupon code SG25 for 25% off of all Delta 8 Gramco products. BT, what it do?
How's it going, guys?
BT. I learned that it was Bradley. I don't want you to tell us what the T stands for because I make up something whenever you hit home runs, like the T stands for tanks. So don't ruin this tiny little bubble that I'm living in, but we're happy to be joined by BT Riopelle, a new Gator Collective athlete, and someone who, after the season you had, I was a little surprised that I'd be seeing you again. I thought it'd be a one and done for BT in Gainesville, but before we get to that, BT, just tell us a little bit about yourself. From Marietta, Georgia, grew up there, played high school there. Did you travel a bunch? I think you were a military family.
Yeah, so I'm from Atlanta. I was actually born in South Florida in Boca Raton. My dad was in the
561, baby. Let them know, right. BT.
That's right. I guess that's my claim anyway. I haven't been there since I was born, but
not missing much.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah, I got to go visit Carson Finvold. He's living down there. So, but yeah, from there, grew up in Atlanta. My parents actually live down in Tampa now. When I graduated high school, they moved down here. So, blessed to be on the water down here, and yeah, just enjoying it.
Perfect. We're right around the corner for me.
Yeah, we're all South Florida. Me and Dan are from Broward County. Silk's from West Palm. Dan lives in Tampa now. Me and you are the Alachua County residents, though.
There we go.
BT, has anybody told you look a little like Jason Aldean?
Jason Aldean, never heard that.
Oh, okay.
I guess it's because I'm growing out the beard a little bit right now.
Yeah, I can see it.
I see it.
BT, before I know Nick is going to pepper you with questions, but Nick knows you better than we all do. You started your career at Coastal Carolina. Talk to us a little bit about what your high school to college transition was like, about your recruiting, and what it was like, and ultimately why you decided on Coastal, and then we'll get into the Gators after that.
Yeah, funny story. Football was kind of my main sport in high school. I never really prioritized baseball. It was always football. I played football during the summer. Never really did any baseball camps and showcases or anything to kind of, put my name out there. One night I just played a summer ball game and it got rained out, and we started playing at like midnight or something later, about 1 o'clock or something like that. And Coastal saw me and they liked me and offered me the next day. I went up for a visit, and it's kind of a done deal. It was super quick. I guess an easy process, unlike a lot of people. But yeah, that was kind of mine. Being at Coastal was a blessing for me. It was a perfect fit at the time. I learned a lot from really good coaches up there. Gary Gilmore, Kevin Schnall, Drew Thomas, Matt Schilling. It really gave me the best atmosphere to progress myself as a player and as a person. It was just time to go, but I'm forever indebted to those guys to give me the opportunity to play there, and just kind of ran with it.
Hey, I wanted to ask about that. So, knowing Sully for a while, he kind of, when the transfer portal became a thing, he thought, hey, listen, we recruit so well at the high school level, we don't need this. We're not going to really use the portal. And then you came along, and I was like, hey, man, you lied to me. This is not a high school kid. And just what was that process like for you to even think about entering the transfer portal? And then how quickly does your phone start blowing up once your name is in there?
Yeah. I guess kind of just like my previous recruiting process, it was pretty quick for me. I decided to leave not for really baseball reasons. It was more just I thought that after COVID happened and everything, I wasn't going to get enough money or financial compensation for me to go play pro ball. I've always prioritized school before sports. And being up in South Carolina, I made a lot of connections and whatnot, but I didn't want to live there. I wanted to live in South Florida. I wanted to really start prioritizing my studies and getting a reputable degree. Ultimately, I didn't know where I'd go. I thought I was just going to go to school somewhere. But I put my name in the portal, and I got the opportunity to come to Florida to get obviously a top 5 public school degree in the country and play at, one of the most prestigious baseball programs as well. So it was really a blessing in disguise for me there too. It was kind of, like I said, really quick. I entered the portal. I was driving home, and 20 minutes into my drive, Craig Bell called me and was like, hey, you want to come play for the Gators? I was like, done. Yeah.
That's incredible, bro.
It's just over.
Yeah,
it was incredible to just say, yo, I'm just gonna throw my name in here because I want to just get a better education in. And then boom, UF hit you up like, hey man, we interested.
Yeah, they're like, you want to come play for the Gators? I was like, I called my dad. I was like, this is a good fit. And he's like, why are you talking to me right now? Why aren't you talking to them?
Yeah, right.
It kind of happened.
You better have said yes before you called me. Like, what are we doing here, son?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it was hard for him because everybody in my family was a Knoll, so I just had to clear that up real quick. But
that's a good time to switch.
No doubt about it.
So BT, what was the difference? Obviously you come to Florida, you have a few years of experience at Coastal Carolina under your belt. So, probably the transition to college, being able to balance, kind of everything beyond baseball for you is probably a little bit easier. Obviously new campuses, new major, probably new classes, stuff like that. But what was it like transitioning to the baseball program? Obviously, Florida has a great cast of players. Last year was a little up and down. This season, they're going to rely a lot, on a new catcher to come in and be able to make an impact. But what was that like in that experience for you transitioning, from one program to another?
Honestly, it was super easy for me. And I give that credit to, every good coach or mentor or person that I've been around to kind of put me in a position to, get out of my comfort zone and go somewhere else where I haven't been before. And it was a new stage, like you said. It really was kind of easy. I didn't put any pressure on myself. Like I said, I thought I was just going to go to school. So I got the opportunity and really just made the most of it. I just wanted to go in there. I told my parents, I was like, look, I just want to go in there and be myself. I felt, the year prior, I wasn't myself. I was putting too much pressure on myself in a lot of different areas other than baseball as well. And I just kind of let loose. I just realized that, this is one of my 4 years in college that I get, and obviously I get a fifth, but I was just trying to have as much fun as I can, be as positive as I can, be a leader for some guys that haven't been in the positions that I've been in before. And it all just kind of happened organically to where I started playing more and got the opportunity and, just made the most of it. So, the transition was super easy for me, I think.
See, watching guys in the fall, obviously it was like you, Mac, and Renee, him being young. But what was your thought process going into the year? Did you think, okay, well, I'll just get some games at DH, get some games behind the plate to spell Mac? What were your expectations, from, I guess, when you guys first start in August and, up until, right before February 14th or 15th, whenever the season started?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. During the fall games, I caught like a total of 4 innings and 36 innings that we played as a team. In the last 2 innings of the UGA scrimmage, like the 9th and the 10th inning or something like that. I knew the type of player I was. I know my work ethic. I know, when the lights turn on, it's a little bit different, and I tend to, do a little bit better when those turn on. I can't really speak on the other guys, but, I knew who I am. I know what I can do and what I could provide for the team, whether it be, on the bench or as a teammate or, hitting 4-hole, which, happened to be at the end of the year. But it just, I didn't put pressure on myself. I really just believed in, that the coaches would put the best lineup out there for us to win. And, it just took a little bit of time for that to, I guess fall into my hands and, in my favor. But
what were I'm not looking for you to like talk down about Coastal at all, but what were the differences between the two programs? Obviously, Florida has a big shiny new stadium and new facilities and things like that. Just what were the differences day to day, facility wise, the way the programs were run, in your estimation?
Well, you mentioned facilities and stadiums. Coastal's facilities, if you haven't seen it or been there in person, it's top notch as well. I wouldn't say. It's a couple more years older than Condren Ballpark now. I could say.
There you go. Look at that.
I didn't think about that for a second. But I would say more from a day-to-day basis, it was a little bit more demanding from Coastal. Being, at a smaller level D1, which we wouldn't consider it that. We were at the same level as everybody else. But, being at a mid-major school or a Group 5 school, we had to be a little bit more on top of our stuff, on our P's and Q's every day to compete with the high-level programs like Florida that gets these blue-chip recruits, relatively easily, so to speak. You didn't have the high-level recruits like myself. You kind of had to develop them, and you put in a little bit more time, a little bit more effort into the everyday process. So you're ready for spring. You touch on a lot more high detail things that could happen within a game that you never see, but if it happens, you're prepared for it and you're ahead of the opponent. I would say that's the biggest thing is, not just relying on your talent, but, really prioritizing the little stuff. And, that's one thing that I try to bring with me to UF. And I think I can, apply it a little bit more this year, having more of a leadership role throughout the entire year, not just the spring, is bringing that, being on your P's and Q's every day and putting forth your best foot. And that's what we can do this year to, be on top of that really good talent that we have. So.
What are your goals for next season? Like, what are you trying to accomplish before you set sail?
Well, I think it's important not to set your goals too high. We're just trying to go out there and win every game that we can. That starts with the first day of practice that we have in the fall together, the first workout, everything. Not taking, too many big steps, but just, small increments up and keep moving forward. two things that I'm really going to prioritize this year being a leader, and I know it starts with Sully and all the way down, and we're all on board. Having high character individuals that can go out into the community and represent this school well, because everybody that supports UF wants those people to play on their teams. That's number one, and then number two is with the talent that we have, we're going to put all the effort necessary to become a national championship program again, and that happens to guys that actually win those national championship stuff. It comes a little bit of luck along the way, but we're going to put the effort into being in the contention for that at the end of the year. I promise you that.
The two programs you've played for did that in 16 and 17, respectively.
That's right. That's my claim to fame. I played for two national championship winning programs. Not a lot of people can say that.
Not a lot of people.
Not many at all. Not many at all. What was, obviously looking at your numbers, it might seem like a silly question because you didn't have any trouble. What was it like playing once SEC ball started? That first month is wild because you're playing 5 nights a week, weather permitting. But then the SEC schedule starts and you start going to some of these stadiums and facing some of these guys that go, first rounders, the guys throwing 98. I think Tidwell comes in. You didn't mind facing who was the kid from Tennessee that threw like 107? Blanking on his name. You took him deep in you took him deep. Joyce. Yeah, you took Joyce deep in Hoover. What was it like just getting in? And was this the best collection of talent that you've played with and against?
Absolutely. I mean, the SEC speaks for itself in all sports. But no, my whole entire life, I felt like I've always played up or played down in my competition. I mean, if you look at my midweek numbers, we played against smaller level schools, not to take away from them, but it's not the talent you see on the weekends. And I didn't play as well. And then I go and play the weekend against some really top-notch pitcher and, kind of see myself settle in and be who I think I am. So, yeah, I mean, the SEC is unbelievable. Every team that we play, it doesn't matter if you're first or last in the league that year. It's pretty it's super competitive, and I thrive on that, I think, and I think a lot of really good players end up thriving on that as well. So it's a super cool experience for me.
What was it like transitioning to Gainesville? I mean, obviously a pretty different place, from where you were there in South Carolina. But what was that transition like for you?
I mean, being an athlete, it's pretty easy transition considering you're either going to school, you're at practice all day long, you're working out, and then you're going to bed. So it's not like it's not too hard of a transition, but it's nicer to be closer to home. I mean, I'm only 2 hours now versus 10. So whenever you get a little time off, you get to go spend with your family, get a good meal, or go out on the boat every once in a while too on a weekend. So.
What I got a couple questions about some on-field stuff, a little celebration stuff. First, though, I want to ask. I know that Miley Cyrus "Party in the USA" it was not new as the walk-up song, but what is the genesis of what I call the most electric walk-up song in the country?
Yeah. So my freshman year in high school, I was the only freshman on varsity, and I started every game. So I guess, guys they bring up that are younger, all the seniors get to pick the walk-up song for them, and they thought it'd be kind of funny to do that or whatever, have everybody in high school make fun of you, but.
Hey, they could have done much worse, man. I'll be honest with you. The song slaps a little bit.
I agree with you 100%. That's why I still have it. I like it. But I didn't tell them that because they would have changed it.
Yeah, smart.
So I liked it. I hit 300 I led the team in hitting that year, and I was like, shoot, I'm never going to change it. And the only time I did was last year or 2 years ago, my last year at Coastal, and I struck out like 12 out of 13 at bats one weekend. I was like, yeah, I'm never changing it again.
Right back to it.
Yeah,
back to Miley.
What other superstitious? I'm sorry, Nick. My bad.
Go ahead.
What other superstitious things you have to get out of slumps?
I don't really have a superstitious thing. I'm not too big into superstition. I mean, I like to wear the same thing every game, but that's just comfortability stuff. Not really superstition.
Do you have any ways to get out of it? Like, what do you do to get out of slump? Anything mental, exercise, read
Any
books?
slump busters?
Slump
Yeah,
busters.
I'm not a huge cage rat. Like I know Wyatt and Colby and a bunch of guys can hit in the cage for like 6-7 hours at a time if they're not doing well, and they kind of that works for them. For me, I just try to get away from baseball. Honestly, I don't really think about going to hit. I don't think about my at bats. I don't think about anything. I honestly just try to put a fishing rod in my hand and go catch a few fish or something.
Sometimes that's the best thing to do is just to get your mind off of it, completely check out.
Nick,
recharge.
What did you do when you were in your probably quite often slumps?
I was the offensive MVP on my high school team, Daniel. Thank you. Big D3 baseball player.
That's about the slump
busters. I would try to sneak a dip in then probably. Maybe that's it. It was a big no-no at the FHSAA level.
Yeah, I can imagine. I had to see Nick with a big chaw in his mouth. You
had to throw it way back in by the molars at that point.
Yeah. All right.
BT. The other one is a home run and a double celebration. A little belly rub. Where did the belly rub come from towards the dugout?
Yeah. So if you didn't look at any pictures or watch video of me at Coastal, I was about 20 pounds lighter than I am right now.
Okay.
I think when I came here, I was just trying to put on as much weight as possible last summer to now. I felt like if I'm gonna strike out a lot, I might as well hit the ball over the fence a lot more and put on a few more pounds, give myself a better chance to do that. But that was kind of it. I put on a little weight, and guys make jokes or whatnot, so I just kind of embraced it. And that was kind of my double celebration.
It was a fantastic celebration.
Yeah, the Krispy Kreme double helped out a little bit too. It kind of gave
the Krispy Kreme double.
Yeah.
What was the method of putting on weight? Just anything Krispy Kreme, Five Guys, or you just have like?
No, just kind of eating. I mean, just powerlifting and lift heavy and eat as much as I can, eat a lot of eggs, a lot of protein, a lot of stuff like that. But it ended up just going to my stomach, not where I wanted it to go. So, so that's why I rubbed my belly and not my arms or something.
Yeah. Well, the added weight did help. I mean, you did put the ball out of the yard. You had some nice leisurely jogs around the bases this year.
Yeah, if you hit it over the fence, you can walk around the bases. Doesn't matter how fast.
Well, here's something.
Cream NIL deal. That's what we need, man.
You I love your attitude on the field. You got into it with a couple teams who maybe took a little too long of a look at home runs or said some stuff. Where does that come from? Because it almost seems like a catcher thing. Like you see Yachty do that kind of stuff. A catcher either protecting his pitcher or sticking up for his pitcher or his teammates. Where did that come in for you? Do you feel like you need to do it, or is that just something that, hey, I'm gonna stand up for my guys?
Well, I think it comes from football. I'm super competitive. I feel like in football you kind of have to have that competitive edge, and I don't want to say talk a little smack, but talk a little smack. Play with a chip on your shoulder, and I feel like every really good player in any sport kind of has that. Transitioning it to baseball, you kind of have to dial it down a little bit. It's more of I don't want to say a gentleman's game, but you have to play the game the right way and respect your opponent. I'm a big believer in that, is just playing the game the right way. And when I see somebody, disrespecting our team, our field, our fans, our whatever, I'll be the first person to step up and say something. But I think that's just me caring about my team and in my university that I play for, and I'll do anything to protect it. So,
how do you view baseball changing now? Because back when I was playing, I'm much older than you. You could pimp a home run, that's fine.
Yeah.
But me as the guy who was on deck would not be happy with you because I'm going to be wearing one of the ribs, not you. It would be that kind of instant. Do you like where the game is heading and there's more, to make baseball fun again? There's more passion, there's more celebration, stuff like that, or do you think, hey, you can do that, but there's going to be repercussions, consequences?
I mean, it's a happy medium, right? I mean, I don't think you need to take away the fun in the game, but at the same time, there's a fine line between having fun and being disrespectful, and it's kind of an unwritten rule. I guess you could say it's a gray area. The difference between the two. I think people in teams that play the game the right way end up winning most of the times, and I don't care how many games you win, but eventually your season's going to come to an end, not how you like it. So if you play the game the right way, it'll all fall where you want it to at the end of the year.
Not saying you are, but maybe you were alluding to an SEC East rival.
No, I'm talking about any team at any level, MLB, college, high school. It could be a 10U baseball tournament. It don't matter.
Well, BT, Silk, Nick, you got any final questions?
I got one more.
Yeah. Other than
For
what
me.
bar your favorite bar in Midtown is. I'm sure that's coming from Nick.
I wasn't, but favorite bar in Midtown?
I don't go to Midtown.
Does it
Favorite
sound
bar
like you go to
downtown?
Midtown?
I am now 23 years old, and there's a lot of 18.
A lot of trouble. A lot of trouble that can happen.
A lot of trouble in Midtown.
That's right.
I'm a little bit
Amateur hour.
I heard a story and wanted to just get you don't have to go into detail if you don't want to. But I heard a story right after Monday night, last game against Oklahoma. Less than an hour after the game, you told Kevin O'Sullivan, next season starts tomorrow. Like, your mentality was already, I'm coming back. This feeling sucks, and we're going to start working tomorrow to make sure we don't have this feeling right now.
No Midtown.
I was ultimately the one that struck out at the end of the year. And I looked at a bunch of different guys that, didn't get to accomplish something that they wanted to. And playing in college and being somewhere where I was appreciated and, being around a lot of high character individuals and having pretty much the most fun season that I've ever had, no matter what point of the season we were at. I walked in after we had our meeting or whatever in the dugout, and I saw Sully and shook his hand, and he said, thanks for everything. Thanks for coming and playing for the Gators. And I said, well, next season starts tomorrow. And I just kind of looked at him and walked away. So I think he kind of got the gist, and you hit it right on the head. That's kind of what happened. And that was ultimately my decision, but yeah.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Well, BT, man, it's an absolute pleasure. I'm not sure if you're a big social media guy, but is there anywhere people can follow you and just kind of keep up with your life and everything else?
Yeah, just I don't like to put myself out there too much. I'm private on Instagram and everything, but you can follow me on
This guy's not going to Midtown, man. That's not going to Midtown. Go ahead, BT. The B is for business. Go ahead, man. About that business, bro.
Business time here.
All right, well, now you
can
business
time.
The name for B, and Nick can put the name for Teague. So
there you go.
Yeah, man. But
he's like
we
Lil
appreciate
Wayne,
BT.
for forever,
That's right.
I love that. BT, thanks so much, brother. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, guys. See y'all.
For sure.
Good conversation.
Yeah.
He is
he's not just a businessman, he's a business.
I like the focus, man. Man stepped out of Eastern Carolina or Coastal Carolina with no idea where he's gonna go. He's just about business. Like, I just got something I want to get to, so I'm getting back to South Florida, something I really want to do, and then Florida called. He ain't about to go to Midtown.
He is.
That's what happened to Nick when he entered the transfer portal. He's still waiting on the call.
Academic advisor.
No,
Hey, you want to?
Academic advisor hit me up and was like, "Hey, man, I don't think you're going to be eligible for the spring season." Like, okay, man, sure. All right.
Oh,
Can I call you back? I'm trying to beat the clock right now.
Hey, before we go on, quick shout out to our friends, homefieldapparel.com. most comfortable vintage shirts in the game. Homefieldapparel.com. Promo code Stadium and Gale, all one word. A lot of new stuff coming out for them. They just dropped a new line last week, dropping another new line. So for your friends, family, colleagues, whatever it might be, beyond just the University of Florida, truly some of the best designs in the game. Homefieldapparel.com, Stadium and Gale promo code. Nick, talk to us. The baseball team lost a couple, not a ton. Having a number of guys coming back, including Brandon Sproat, who's going to come back as your Friday starter. The Gators do lose. Was it Colby Thomas? Was that his name? The kid that was going to transfer from Mercer? Or did I make that up?
Yes. So he is signed. He was drafted third round. He's signed. He's not going to make it. The only player Florida lost from the recruiting class is your Tampa Bay Rays selected Xavier. I'm forgetting his name. He already signed already,
Taylor?
though. Maybe.
Yeah.
He's gone. Already gone. So Florida's going to end up with a top 10 recruiting class. It's not announced yet. So as we talked about earlier, I won't announce it for him. They're going to get another outfielder in the transfer portal. That should be coming out soon. And Brandon Sproat could sign with the Mets. They are running out of money, and the deadline is today to sign. But I'm expecting Brandon Sproat to be back. It doesn't appear that the Mets will sign their third-round pick. And Florida's weekend rotation before the draft, I would have said the weekend rotation would be Pierce Capala, who was a freshman that needed back surgery last year. We didn't really see him outside of one outing. Brandon Neely, who came on towards the end of the year, and then Jack Caglianone, who didn't pitch last year but started hitting towards the end of the year. And that was going to be a really solid rotation. Now you're going to get your Friday night guy back in Brandon Sproat, most likely. Hurston Waldrop, who pitched with the Team USA Collegiate National Team that Wyatt Langford was on, will probably be your Saturday night guy. And then you've got three really talented guys, including two lefties who throw 95 plus to figure out on Sunday. So Florida has a lot of depth in the starting rotation. They're going to be really good. I'm going to be tweeting that Bart Simpson writing on the chalkboard thing that I created. Don't overhype. I won't overhype Florida's baseball team. I'll be tweeting that. Silk will keep me on my toes, but the pitching depth Florida has, getting Wyatt Langford back, getting Ty Evans back. Renee Lastres, I think Kevin O'Sullivan told me he should be ready. He had Tommy John surgery during the season last year. He should be ready to play again. BT Riopelle, Colby Halter's back, Josh Rivera's back. Like Florida's going to be really, really talented next year. I'm not booking Omaha yet, but very talented.
Yeah. But he's not looking at the Omaha Steaks pamphlet to see what he can get when he's out there. I got you.
I mean, I already know what I'm getting. We're getting the biggest bone in ribeye they have.
I love that. Love it. Obviously we'll talk a lot more about the baseball program as we get a little bit closer to the season, but certainly appreciate BT's time today. Appreciate the Gator Collective also for helping set that up. But certainly a focused young man. Nick, were you surprised he wasn't drafted?
No.
So first team or
right. So in baseball circles, and that's the last question I asked him about him and Kevin O'Sullivan. So. And I think we kind of got it through the whole conversation with him. It was he's really enjoying being a college baseball player, and it doesn't seem like his goal is to be a professional baseball player. He values his education and was looking to come to a school like Florida to get a degree to move on to that next stage of his life. And I think towards the end of the year, I'm thinking, all right, well, BT's gone. He just played the toughest level of competition that he's ever played in his life and had the best season of his life, probably. And I thought he'll be gone. And literally within 30 minutes of losing that last game, the end of their season last year, he told his head coach, like, what do you mean? Thanks. Like, I'll see you tomorrow. Like we still have business to do here. So I was surprised until, I heard that story and I was like, wow, okay. Yeah, he'll be back.
Yeah. No, I mean, certainly.
And then in baseball circles, once you make that known, teams. Okay, well, he's not. The term would be called signable. Okay, well, he's not signable. He wants to come back.
Yeah, and I know unless you're a super high level prospect, get a lot of money as a signing bonus and everything else, playing, minor league ball is certainly not the sexiest thing in the world. It's tough, it's challenging. You're in long bus trips, for the most part, you're not staying at great hotels, great parts of town. You're usually moving to obscure towns in the middle of nowhere and trying to work your way up. And I know, especially at 23, 24 years old, and you team with 18, 19-year-olds as well. It can be different. It can be a little bit of a culture shock, and some people are ready to move on. But certainly I wonder if he has a great year, if some team doesn't, or somebody doesn't try to convince him to say, hey, life can be pretty good with a $750,000 signing bonus your way as well. So,
man, not bad.
Not bad. Let's see. Gentlemen, I know we talked a little bit about recruiting when we got the show started, but any other additional thoughts from Friday Night Lights? I'm going to get a couple of names of folks that were there as well. A couple big quarterback targets. DJ Lagway, 2024 target was on campus, and then 2025 QB target Colin Hurley. I think one or both are one or either. Pardon me. Either one, I know how to talk, are probably, I wouldn't say must-gets for the Gators, but certainly Gators seem to be trending nicely for both, and both look to be pretty elite quarterbacks in a couple of years. But any additional thoughts on anybody else that came to campus this weekend?
A lot of smoke about Kelby Collins.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't make it to Alabama this week. Was supposed to make it out there. He's decided in a couple weeks. We're heading into a dead period. We got his last visit. Some smoke there. We'll see what Coach Spence could do, bro. But
6'4", 265-pound from Gardendale High School. Obviously, an exceptionally talented kid. But did make it to Florida this past weekend, did not make it to Alabama, on 3 consensus, 60th overall player in the country, number 7 defensive line. The recruiting machine has him at almost 90% Alabama, but still has not been to campus recently. So Florida definitely needs some help on the defensive line and recruiting. But you get a guy like Collins. You get a guy like Will Norman. There's definitely some big prospects out there on the defensive line for Florida to try to fill that out nicely. Missing the other one, Cam. Trying to remember his name.
Cameron, lineman.
Harris? No. I'll find
it. It's James, right?
Yeah, you might be right.
This is very great radio right here. Podcast.
Yeah, good content, right? That's what we're here. That's why they pay us the big bucks here. But while we look that up, any additional or final thoughts on Friday Night Lights?
That's my thoughts are in. I thought we had a great showing of visits. Great way to hold off Miami and their shenanigans and keep kids on campus. The barbecue, the mac and cheese didn't seem to be egregious. No crazy plates at the timeline. So
Cameron
James, right? Yeah. Thought I was tripping for a second, but
I thought
that's another guy too that's been on campus a lot. I don't know what his timetable is. There were reports earlier in his recruitment that he wanted to decide before fall camp. Not sure where he's at with it, but he's been on campus a ton. One that could be, huge if they could get him to pop before the season.
Yeah, on 3.
Same thing with Will Norman.
Yeah. Will Norman is a guy that I know said that he wanted to make his announcement before the start of the year as well. He's over at IMG Academy. Cameron Harris, sorry for that delay.
Cameron Harris.
Cameron James, geez Louise. Cameron James, 6'5", 265 pounds, defensive lineman out of Olympia High School there, also in Orlando. The on-3 recruiting prediction machine has him at almost 100% to Florida at 96.2. Offers from Georgia, UCF, a number of other schools, but those seem to be kind of his top 3 that folks are looking at. On3 has him ranked as the 23rd best player in the country, number 3 on the defensive line. The On3 consensus has him at 213 overall, but I think On3 is very high on him, and you're starting to see him rise on the other rankings as well. So I don't know if the other services will get him that high, but certainly I will imagine that you'll see his ranking go up, but definitely a guy that has come a little bit out of nowhere on the recruiting services, but has been offered by Florida pretty early on to Florida as new staff coming on board. So definitely a guy that could be a big addition for Florida.
I think this is, and I kind of talked. I think every time Silk asked me about it, I was like, yeah, it's going to be a little bit smaller. It's going to be a little more exclusive than it has been, kind of what it, going back to its roots. But I think back to its roots as smaller, the staff did a good job of lining up these commitments, the verbal pledges to kind of create some momentum and create some buzz around the program. And I think overall, probably the most successful Friday Night Lights that we've seen in years. So, kudos to the staff, and you've got to try to keep this momentum going into fall camp, which also starts this week.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit about fall camp here in a moment. But before we do that, and I have a hypothetical draft that we're going to do to end the show out. But when you need Gator gear, Alumni Hall is your ultimate shopping experience. Find constantly new T-shirt designs, full-size helmet replicas, and fan cave and dorm decor in their selection. You're going to be proud to be a Gator. Show off your Gator pride. Visit them in person off of Archer Road or online at alumnihall.com. Alumni Hall, where Gator fans shop. A lot of really great products on there. Some new coach polos, the new Jordan polos that are out there as well. So go check out alumnihall.com. All right, we have fall camp starting here in the next couple of days. Nick, give us a breakdown of what that schedule is going to look like and what we can expect. And what practices will we be at?
Okay, so not any of the first couple. As I'm here in North Carolina, and the team is not here. So
can
Florida
I go in your stead?
No, Florida will be. The way Billy runs it, we have to apply for our credentials. Can't just show up.
Did you hear that? So Nick didn't even throw us the application. He didn't even let us get rejected.
Crazy. How are they going to tell us we need an application when we're at the same corner at the same time?
That's hey.
We're like we should be a shoe in.
We're literally already there, just around the corner.
Yeah. Like I turn those down.
We're sitting on the corner and you can't get in. Can't get an invite into the club. Stand on the corner.
You're going to walk right by us. Anyway.
Florida reports for camp on Tuesday. Florida. So the way that Billy runs his season, only him and then select players will talk. So tomorrow, Tuesday, if you're listening to this today, Mark Hockey, Rob Sale, Sean Spencer, and Billy Napier will all speak to the media. That'll be the last time the coordinators or anyone does a public interview. It'll all be Billy Napier and then players. I think tomorrow there'll be 3 or 4 players speaking as well. And then the first practice, obviously, and still the acclimation period, the first 2 practices are just in helmets. It may look like the players are in pads. They've kind of got these like they're not like rubber. It's just like a mock pad, but they're not in actual shoulder pads until the 4th practice of camp. So they'll practice Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, Saturday's off, and there'll be media throughout the week. And then next week when I'm back will be the first, full pads practice.
Being shells.
I think it's different now. There's 25 practices, and the NCAA, it was 2 years ago, changed the format. You can't have any 2-a-days, The number of practices you have to have in shells, I think, is like 9. Back in your day, 3 days eating
I had
salt
a
tablets on the
3-a-day
field.
fam. I had a 3-a-day fam. JUCO, man. It was like prison.
Bro, that's nuts.
Bro, that's they don't even have enough tape to tape your ankles in JUCO. Get out there, 3 practices. Don't take the tape off because you ain't getting retaped.
The whole team was at the training by like the 3rd day. It was like 8 people practicing.
All right, boys. We'll break fall practice in, do all that kind of fun stuff.
I'm excited about these interviews, man. These are always good. I like these fall camp media stuff more than I do SEC media days. You learn more about your team and their mindset and get to hear from your players a little bit more than the generic questions that you get. So I'm looking forward to seeing the media from our players and assistant coaches.
Oh, sorry. Which position group are you most excited about hearing out of practice?
Well, a couple different answers for different reasons.
No,
let's go.
One answer, Nick.
Ben, obviously the punters. Obviously punting. Clearly.
Yeah, the fans can't wait to hear you talk about that.
But in terms of competition, I think Naquan Wright is going to be running back 1. So I'm looking at the running backs because obviously I think Montreal is a great back. Lorenzo Lingard, when Naquan was out in the spring, they loved him. I'm looking for that competition. Now I think a lot of those guys are going to touch the ball a ton. I think you could get all 3 of them with 100 plus carries this year. But I'm looking to see Naquan Wright. And then I also need to see any kind of depth behind Gervon inside at nose tackle and defensive tackle.
Nice.
Phil.
Quarterback.
Yep.
That's what I'm excited to hear from, man. Quarterback. Just the RPO decision making, leadership standpoint. He gonna make this thing go, dog. So, I want to hear the progress of him and then everybody behind him as well. What the competition looks like, the development of the guys behind him. Defensive tackle is definitely interesting. Just depth wise, bro. That's probably the scariest position we got on our team with depth. But I want to see just the opposite side of Jason Marshall. I'm starting to feel this Jalen Kimber idea. I think we got some guys, man. I think our secondary is going to be really good. When I start looking at it, I started looking at Patrick Toney's defense on YouTube the last couple of weeks and the style they play in. Watching that Louisiana defense, how they attack, how they disguise things, bro. It's very smart defense, man. I think we're gonna be playing with a different edge from that standpoint as far as like scheme. I'm just excited about that scheme in our secondary. When we get our hands on people, we didn't do that the last couple of years with Grantham. Allow a lot of free releasing. We're gonna be able to get our hands on. We're gonna put a lot of zero coverage. It's gonna be situations where it look like we're in some zones, but we're not. A lot of creeper, a lot of safeties walking down into boxes. You don't know if they're blitzing or not. So, and safeties. Dan, boxes have been your thing this show, man. But safeties and corners is probably my
not
other
just
position.
In this show, Silk. Anyway,
this guy.
I've been interested in for a long time now. So I would say for me, wide receiver is probably something that I'm most curious to see who's going to separate, who's going to be the 1, 2, 3 there. I think that there's a lot of intriguing talent there. I think that there's been a lot said about the inexperience of the group, and certainly that a lot of them are the kind of the same size and stature and same mold of a person. But I do think that there's a lot of talent. I think that there's guys that were very highly regarded coming out of high school that you're going to get an opportunity, Weston and Frazier's, and, certainly Creed Whittemore has an opportunity, or the older Whittemore, has an opportunity to make an impact this year. And you're bringing Ricky Pearsall and Justin Shorter has his opportunity to, close out his college career too. So I do think that there's a lot of talent still there, and I'm curious to see how they all play out. And then, certainly would love to see, what happens at defensive tackle, right? Obviously Gervon is a guy that, is going to be relied on heavily, but what's next to that? And, is Florida going to be able to do to plug up, the gaps there in the offensive line. So I'm curious to see from the offensive line, pardon me. So I'm curious to see what defensive tackle looks like and how they're able to grow and mold. So, gentlemen, have a game.
Dan hit Trent Whittemore with Creed's brother.
Yeah, Creed's. Yeah.
Creed's brother.
Yeah, there you go.
Disrespectful, man.
The other Whittemore kid.
It is. Yeah. The other Whittemore. It took a while, and Nick, if you saw me stumbling around for Cameron James's name for about 4 minutes there, it's got to be. We got to get better on this the audio. I'm in off season. I've put on weight. I've not been hitting the name weights like I should. So I'll work on that. That's on me.
Just been doing the weight.
Yeah. Not doing depth chart curls in the off season. So it's about that time. Silk, Nick, I want to play a quick game with you. Should go quickly. I didn't even tell you guys about this. I'm going to throw this on. We did a couple weeks ago where we picked a wide receiver and running back, a wide receiver, running back, quarterback trio. Today, I want to hit a backfield quad. So 2 safeties, 2 cornerbacks that you want in your backfield of all time. We are going to pull up.
I feel ambush.
The spinning wheel. You are
total ambush. Total
time to think.
Total ambush.
Total ambush
because of his poor showing last time. He didn't even give us a chance.
Yeah, he prepared.
No, this is nuts. No, I really did. I actually just wrote it down. Just a bunch of blank names, just thinking about it. I don't get to choose who gets to go first. So Corey?
This is a setup. This is an ambush.
You get to go first. Congratulations. All right.
I appreciate it.
You get to go first. Then Nicholas, you get to go second. And then I'll go third. All right. And we'll allow the fans to vote on this as well. So you won in decisive fashion last time. Nick, you came in a relatively close second, and of course in a very distant third. There I sat.
So you ambushed us.
Yeah,
I did.
Ambush.
All right. I think I'm prepared. You gotta go heavy out the gate. You gotta take something that's very valuable. Give me Reggie Nelson.
Solid. I'm gonna go. There's a ton of cornerbacks to go with. I don't think I'll be too upset with any of them, but I'm gonna go with cornerback first and go with Joe Hayden.
Okay. So just writing these down. Let's see. Hayden. I'm gonna go with Kewan Ratliff.
Oh, scratch.
And then I think I'm going to go because I know Silk's going to take him. So if I don't take him now, I'm going to pick Lewis Oliver.
Very sneaky. Very
sneaky. I knew he'd be available if the snake came around twice. So,
that's early for Lewis, though. That's early.
It is, but I feel like I've got some good options to keep him away from me.
Okay, I'm going to go with a corner. I'm going to go with Keanu Neal as my first safety.
Okay. That's on me, huh?
Yeah, you go twice.
Give me Vern at corner and give me Jinx at corner.
I knew Janoris was coming for you.
Yeah. I'm gonna take we're hitting. I'm going Lawrence Wright.
All right.
We are hitting, Silk.
Oh yeah, you bringing some violence.
We are hitting.
Right.
We are going to be the most flagged team in the college football with my 2 safeties.
Yeah. I'm going to go Lito Shepherd.
Nice.
And then I guess I'll go Jarvis Williams. Because you know how I like to go. I like to go old school. Like to bridge the gaps. Generational divides here.
Hold on, boys. I'm just publishing my story on vacation because Brandon Sprout's back.
Big deal.
Gotta do some work real quick. Who's left for cornerback? I know I'm gonna miss somebody big because he's sprung on us like a sneaky snake. Man.
You could go Lucius Purifoy.
I think Robertson. I'm gonna go.
You go Fred Weary. You could go Marquis Anderson. A whole slew of names.
I think I'm gonna go with my guy
McDaniel.
my guy Jalen Tabor. So I got 2 corners. I got Joe Hayden. I got Tabor, 2 5s, 2 Maryland boys, and then I just got Payne at safety.
All right. So
give my dog a mod, man. You know?
Yeah.
Give my dog a mod, bro. I got a mod and Reggie at the safety, and I got Jinx and Vern at the corner, man.
I like it.
I got 3 number 1s on the Lois of Keys.
You do, and then a 35.
Random ass 35. Are we doing a nickel or are we done here?
I think we're done here.
Okay, cool.
Just two and two. Next week, so we can prepare. We'll do defensive line and linebacker. So we'll do 2 DEs, 2 D tackles, and then a couple linebackers. Or we'll just do 1 defensive end, 1 defensive tackle, and we'll do 2 linebackers.
That sounds better.
For a middle linebacker and an outside linebacker.
I say 1 defensive tackle, 2 DNs.
Okay. DT, DE, DE, LB. Okay, cool. Shout out to Carlos Dunlap. I know that he just got picked up by the Kansas City Chiefs for his 13th season in the NFL. And I saw that Antonio Valentino was signed to the active roster for the Seattle Seahawks today. So congratulations to the both of them. Silk, why don't you give us a Manscaped ad read, and then I have a little small announcement for everybody after.
Already, man. Manscaped. Y'all know what it is. Manscaped.com, the best of the best when it comes to men grooming. Whether you're shaving your head or you're shaving your balls, or you're shaving your legs, whatever you're shaving, the Lawnmower 4.0 is the proper equipment for it. No snags, no cuts. You can use it in the shower. It's shower proof. Also has a laser light if you want to use it in the dark. Great utensil for men grooming. They also have the weed whacker, body wash, nail clippers, ball deodorant, ball spritzer, anything a man needs to groom and keep himself tidy and non-sweaty this summer. Manscaped.com. Use coupon code 20SG at checkout for 20% off and free shipping.
Love it. I do have an announcement. We have a new sponsor that is hopping on with us next week. The contract just got sent over, so super excited to announce them next week. But we will need your support. So we will bring that up next week. We're super excited about this one. We'll definitely and absolutely hit the needs.
Did you make an announcement about an announcement?
I am, but I want everybody to pay attention because we're going to need their help. So I'm preparing them that, hey, I'm going to need you to buy some stuff next week for us. So just be on the lookout that we're going to ask and beg for your money again. Speaking of begging for your money, visit the Stadium and Gale shop. A lot of great designs on there. Shout out to Nick's Papa who dropped some bread this weekend. A lot of great stuff out there on our store, stadiumandgale.com/shop. So yeah, That's all I got.
Shout out to Frank. Frank's the
Shout out to
GOAT.
Frank.
Dad, if you're listening, shout out to
Frank the
you.
Tank.
Thanks for dog sitting while I'm up here on vacation.
You gotta get Frank some kids to babysit, bro. This dog.
Let's calm down.
Bro, wait.
Let's
He's dog sitting
simmer
right
down.
now?
Currently.
Like in North Carolina?
No, man.
Like you
What?
made him
he's
go
in Gainesville.
up to
The dogs
Gainesville?
are in Gainesville. The dogs are in Gainesville.
Bro.
You thought he brought his dad and the dog on vacation?
Yeah, he brought his dad. Brought his dad from retirement in South Florida near the beaches to put him in the middle of the state of Florida at the hottest time of year. It's the devil's armpit right now. He's like, hey, just watch my dogs. It's nuts. That's a good dad. Appreciate him.
Shout out to Frank, man.
Shout out to Frank. Frank the Tank. All right. Is it my song of the week? I don't remember.
Yep.
Nick had the shanty. No, he had Doing This. That's right. He had Luke Combs. Big shout out.
Silk
Song
went last week.
Birthday.
You're up.
All right. I'm going to play my guy Elenium had a new song called All That Really Matters. Normally he's kind of a dubstep beat drop type of guy, but this one, a lot of good lyrics, really good song, I think, for everybody to listen to. So All That Really Matters, Elenium. Boys, we'll see you at the same corner, same time next week.
You already know.